Welcome to Bombers Breakdown, presented by Tompkins Trust Company. It's the inaugural episode of our podcast here where we're asking all of your burning questions to your favorite coaches here on the South Hill. I'm Severin Lavenstein alongside my co-host, Caitlin Maniscalco. And joining us today is Ithaca College field hockey coach, Caitlin Wahila. Coach, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So again, asking all of the burning questions, but to start, Coach, where were you before Ithaca? And what was your journey like to end up here?
Yeah, so I actually got my master's here at Ithaca College way back in 2007. So I was a graduate assistant actually for the field hockey team for that year, got my master's in sport management, and absolutely loved my experience here when I was coaching with the team. And that was actually the moment where I knew I wanted to be a coach, but specifically I knew I wanted to coach at the Division III level. Because I had played Division I field hockey. So then I knew I wanted to coach. So I went on to be the assistant field hockey coach at Siena College, right outside of Albany, New York, was there for 4 years, and then got my first head coaching job at Susquehanna University and spent 6 years there. And then all of a sudden this position opened up and I got a phone call from the former head coach who I had remained very close with. And she said, "You're going to apply, right?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess, yeah, I should really consider applying," because I had, like I said, so enjoyed my time when I was a graduate assistant here. And I met my husband while I was here in grad school. So his family is from Binghamton area, so about 45 minutes away from us. And we had just had our second kid, and it just made sense to be, a little bit closer to family if we could. And got lucky enough to get an interview and to be offered the position, and here I am.
So prior to coaching here at Ithaca, while you were studying sports management, did you have any other career aspirations, or since you were younger, was coaching always at the top of mind?
So athletics has always been a big part of my life. I have two brothers who played collegiate sports when they were in college, and both my parents are longtime coaches, physical educators, and it just felt like this was going to be the path that I was going to go down. And when I can remember when I graduated from the University of New Hampshire in 2006, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I knew that sport was going to be in my life in some way, shape, or form. So to be honest, I didn't know maybe exactly how I was going to get to the point where I am now, where I'm a head coach at a Division III institution. But that was always something that I knew I wanted to be involved in sport. I knew I wanted to be a mentor, to coach, and to help young female student athletes grow. So I didn't really ever have any other intention to do anything else. So this has been really, truly a dream come true. And especially being here at Ithaca, and just with all the support that, the student athletes receive here, it really is a perfect fit for me.
Coach, can you talk to us about the state of the team right now? Obviously, with such unpredictability, where is everybody at right now? What's off-season training been like, and how is the state of the team?
Yeah, so it has been incredible, as everybody I'm sure can imagine, to be back at it. We had a very long pause where we, had some kind of dips where we were getting some bad news there for a little bit in the summertime, and then being fully remote was certainly one of our biggest hurdles to be able to climb. And being back here now is really, I can't explain it much more than just amazing, because we get to be face to face, even though we're masked up and we're 6 feet, but we get to be with our players, which is very different than seeing them over as, a Zoom or a FaceTime screen. So the fact that we're able to connect in that way is a game changer for us right now. And we're training 5 days a week right now. And we have some restrictions in terms of how many hours we can spend per day. But, to be honest, even if it's a half an hour, that's great with us. We're to the point now where we can be with them for 75 minutes, which is amazing. At first, we started at 60 minutes, and talking to some of my colleagues, and they're like, "Oh, you can only spend 60 minutes." I said, 60 minutes is more than 0 minutes. So we're good with that. And, the more that we can have that opportunity to work on not only our skills, but the development of our team culture, we're going to take advantage of that. So we are, like I said, we're training 5 days a week. We also have on one of those days, we have the opportunity to work individually with just pods. So that is really great to get that one-on-one, just to be able to break some skill sets down with them has been really meaningful. And then we have 18 players right now. So essentially the team is kind of broken up into 2 groups. And then we also have some smaller pods that we're able to work with. And those are essentially just based off of their class year. So specifically right now with our first years, it's really great to have that one-on-one time with them because of course they didn't get that time in the fall to be able to work on, skills and just tactics and everything that we focus in on. So to have those moments with them is really great. And also for them to be in a little bit of a bigger group situation to see, oh, okay, this is what this team is all about. And this is the pace at which I should be working has been really beneficial.
From a mental standpoint, I'm a member of the varsity softball team here, and I'm really sorry about your season last semester. I know that was really tough. As someone who went through it, I can definitely say I know it's hard. From a mental standpoint, how do you kind of get your girls focused at practice when in reality there's 5-6 months until they're going to compete again?
Right. So oddly enough, we actually had a conversation at the end of our training session yesterday morning after our 6 a.m. And, I said to our student athletes that we may not compete until August. And that's very well going to actually technically until September. That very well is going to be the case. And when you take a year, you take 365 days and you break down to how many days you compete. For us, for field hockey, we typically have 18 games, maybe 19 or 20, 21, depending on how far we make it. But that's only 18 or 20 days out of 365. So we need to make the absolute most out of all of the rest of those days because we might not be competing in a competitive situation until September. So the work that we need to put in happens every single day. And it's just, we're really taking it one day at a time. So as a coaching staff, we're going to do the best we can to create an environment where our student athletes can compete even in a pod situation, whether it's, timing things or keeping track of, shooting or skills or whatever it is. But right now for us, where we are at, we are taking it one day at a time and just working on the process. And so much of the process with us right now is individual skill and building our tactical game because we haven't done any of that since the end of November in 2019. So mentally, though, we are working on our mental health of our student athletes. And we actually joined with Southern New Hampshire University and their field hockey team. And we have a weekly, what we're calling a mental performance promise. So every Monday we come out with kind of just a different challenge for our student athletes to work on for that week. And it is solely based on just trying to help them be reminded that we want them to continue to work on their mental health. And, mental health isn't something that is just, oh, it happens to somebody, this one time or a couple of times. It's something that I want our student athletes to be working on consistently every single day. So we actually, one of our challenges that we have had over the last couple of weeks was take 20 minutes to do something for yourself. Because I think a lot of times our student athletes, as are so focused on the day-to-day and the routine of, okay, I've got training, classes, eating, sleep, like all those great things. So we really want them to take those moments when they can to really focus in on what makes them happy and what are some hobbies that they can really say, I'm going to take this 20 to 30 minutes to just journal or to go for a walk or to go skiing or to do whatever, go for a hike, whatever it is. So we definitely are working on that the mental side of things because, as I'm sure Caitlin too, that's a huge part of it. And so we're hoping that we can really stay consistent with the training that we have throughout this spring. And then when September comes, I really believe that our team is going to be ready to go.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that's so interesting.
That's fantastic to hear about that mental health initiative. Definitely. Coach, as I mentioned, we only need to ask the burning questions here on Bombers Breakdown, and we want to get to know a little bit more about you. And so we've got maybe the most ultimate question possible. And just for some background, Caitlin and I are on different sides of this. Okay, so no pressure, but you must defend one position, and I think this will tell a lot about you. Is cereal soup or is a hot dog a sandwich? Defend one position and tell us why.
I know it's tough.
Oh boy. All right. Hot dog is a sandwich because there's technically two sides to it, and you have something in the middle. You have that hot dog in the middle, and then you have, the two sides. And I feel like that's a sandwich because with a sandwich, you have, whether it's top or bottom or left or right, there's still something in the middle. So it's a sandwich.
Not going for the breakfast gazpacho, as I call the cereal. I've been beaten. Unfortunate.
So funny. I know. I still think cereal is not a soup. I think that's a separate entity, but I know Severin was saying that the other day. He thinks cereal is a soup.
I'm gonna keep my position, but I fully support going for the hot dog as a sandwich. I understand your reasoning. I think that is fair.
And kind of stemming from that question too, a little bit more on the lighthearted side, what is a fun fact about you that the average person might not know?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with this one. I used to be in a jump rope club when I was younger, and we used to travel around and do performances at different schools. And I don't know if anybody's ever heard for Jump Rope for Heart, but we used to raise money as well. So it was more than just jump roping and doing fun skills and doing all that stuff, but
Right.
we raise money as well. So but every year in my elementary school, we would have a jump rope contest. So it would be how many jumps can you get in 60 seconds, or how many double unders can you do consecutively. So I was a state champion at both of those at some point in my elementary school career. And oddly enough, my parents actually they just decided they moved. They're in the same town, but they moved. So they're obviously getting rid of, a bunch of stuff. And my mom called me one day and said, "Do you want your trophy for your state championship for your jump rope?" I was like, "Yes, I do. That's going in our basement somewhere." And it's not something that you walk in our basement and you see it right away. But I actually think my husband has it's like in a closet somewhere, but it's still hanging. And it's still something that I'm like, oh man, I was a jump rope state champ. So kind of cool.
That's so cool. I love that.
I can't even jump rope. I'm gonna need some lessons on that. That's fantastic. Coach, when you're not coaching, what is your favorite thing to do? What are some of your hobbies, your favorite activities when you're away from the game and you've got some time to yourself?
So I've got two kids. I have a 7-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. So that, keeps me very busy. But I during this pause have taken a lot of time to really adventure out in Ithaca. We had a ton of time last spring over the summertime where we weren't able to do as much in terms of recruiting, which, recruiting keeps us super busy. So we made it a point to every weekend picked a different spot in Ithaca, a different hike, a different gorge, a different waterfall to go check out. And that was really, really awesome. So I think in general, when you have kids, you're always trying to have fun and make sure that they, can explore and do those fun things. So I would say that's probably my biggest hobby, is making sure that, we're having some fun with our kids. I also love skiing. So huge fan of Greek Peak. Shout out to Greek Peak. We bought season passes this year and taught my husband how to ski. So all four of us can now ski and have a ton of fun skiing. I used to be a ski racer way back when, so brings me back to the old days of ski racing. But and then probably the last thing is I love to purchase books that help me learn about how to be a better coach and a better leader and a better mentor. My downfall is that I buy them and it just takes me a really long time to read them, to find that time in my day to read. But man, I love asking people, give me a great book, like whether it's how to be a better coach or a leader or whatever. And so I have this stack of books at my house, and I will get to them. I will read them all, but it just takes me a little bit longer than the average person.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast. I know you are super, super busy, but we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you both so much. It was a pleasure to be here.